AskReddit. What was the black market at your school? One kid in middle school sold Dum Dum lollipops. He carried them around in a shopping bag, and I believe he charged a quarter. In high school I had a friend who would sell cookies. One for $1. Eventually staff got wind and told her to stop. So people would give her money for no reason. And the next day she would give them cookies for unrelated reasons. Edit. Almost forgot elementary school. Kids would sell their parents jewelry for ice cream money. One kid sold his grandmother's engagement ring for 50 cents. Chicken biscuits from Chick-fil-A. My friend would go there every morning and buy 20, then later 50, then 100. He sold them for about $1 more than he bought them. And he sold them out every single day. For 5 years. Our school started really early, 7:10 a.m. So once people woke up they frequently really wanted Chick-fil-A. He took me to school a good bit before I got a car and he would have to stop by Chick-fil-A on the way. He would always give me a biscuit for free, and when I tried to pay he assured me that it was not a problem for me to have one. He always sold out his biscuits. I seriously actually think he made more than $30,000 in high school just by doing this for 5 years. Zip ties. When you go to a ski resort and buy a lift ticket, before the roughed ones a lot of places have now, they'd have a little thing full of zip ties, so you could take one and attach it to your jacket. When I was in middle school, over the course of a week I took a couple of thousand of those from a resort I went to with my family for vacation. When I got back to school, I brought with me a backpack full of zip ties, neatly zip tied into bundles of 20. I sold those bundles of 20 for $1 to $5 each, depending on who was asking. Why would people want to buy zip ties? Well, at first, they wanted to get revenge on me for zip tying all their shit clothes together two other things. Eventually, though, once they had gotten revenge on me and still had zip ties left over, they'd do it to other people who would want revenge on them, and so on and so forth. I had a lot of repeat customers in that battle. Wi-Fi password to the teacher's Wi-Fi network so that we could use sites blocked on the student and guest networks. School kept changing it, but the kids always figured it out. I had a teacher who gave me unsupervised access to all the attendance records and paperwork. I sold blank early dismissal and late entry slips. For a higher price I changed people's attendance record. A buddy and I used to load up on energy drinks for $1 or $2 a pop and turn them around for $3 at school. Another kid tried to get in the game and started a turf war. Legit cornered me in the bathroom to try and intimidate me into stopping. I laughed in his face, called his bluff, and pushed past him. Told all the people who bought from me about it and nobody would buy from him. It's rough on the streets. One guy in my school decided that the lunch was too expensive, so he bought his own ingredients and sold hot dogs, burgers and some sweets for around half the price. His operation got shut down pretty quickly because the lunch people were independent contractors who had an agreement with the school that they would be the only food providers on campus. Needless to say it got shut down within a week. I ran a black market distribution network for warheads in the 4th grade. They had just come out and were immediately all the rage at school. Mom had an in with a wholesaler, so I bought a ton of them. Sold them for $0.25 a piece. $0.50 for the fizzy ones when they came out. Eventually we had a small riot on the playground when I stood on the jungle gym and threw them into the crowd, like Frank Lucas throwing out fucking turkeys in Harlem. Some kid got hurt, the teachers got wind of the racket, and I got shut down. Warheads were banned from the school, but man, it was a wild ride. Some girls in my after school care convinced us youngsters that Pokemon actually existed but were endangered. They showed us Pokemon cards and told us if we donated we could save them. Little me only wanted Jigglypuff to live. There's two that come to mind, both in middle school. The faculty caught on that this one kid was selling something from his locker. They immediately thought it was drugs and asked to search his locker. Turns out his dad cured really good beef jerky and my whole class was obsessed with it. Think him and his dad made a good buck before he got shut down. The other kid lived near the Tasta cake factory in town. Pre-packaged, super sugary baked goods. The factory would throw out perfectly good products if their packaging was damaged in any way. This included the outer boxes that held the tasty treats. This kid would go to their dump, steal these boxes, and then sell the treats individually in school for $1 a treat. His operation lasted a bit longer than the beef jerky kids. I think both of them became good friends in high school lol. Teacher here. A kid at my previous school sold those little salt and pepper pockets to kids at lunch every day. 50 cents for both. The cafeteria, due to state/fed regulations, didn't season anything, so the food was blander than bland. He made a few $100s over the course of the month he did this before admin shut him down. I started small. I bought those big candy bags at Costco with money I earned mowing lawns. Then I made mix and match bags and sold those. Then I bought those mixed pop flats from Costco and started selling the pops for a little less than you could get from the canteen. Eventually, demand got so big that I had to expand. So I hired a friend of mine to work with me at 10% of her profits for working for me. Rest was hers. We ran that operation until I left. Made good money with it. I was a loan shark in middle school. I earned money at my dad's business, so I could always loan kids $1 for a bottle of pop or whatever. They would always pay me back for interest the next day, usually a dime on a $1 loan. In high school I learned to calculate loan interest and realized that a 10% return for a 24-hour loan was crazy high. My school had a guy who used to go around selling candy. He ended up dying when he was shot attempting to rob a home. Good times. Well, in my school we had an underground fight club. It took place in the limbo between 3rd and 4th periods in the boys' locker room of the gym. If you ran out of class right when it ended, you could get into the locker room from the hallway entrance if the people inside opened it for you. We only had about 30 or 40 guys in the entire year, so everybody knew each other pretty well. There were different weight classes and curated rounds. My favorite was 2 scrappy 130-pound skinny kids vs the 300-pound held back 20-year-old. The fights got pretty intense, but were always kept to a certain restraint so that people wouldn't return to class bloodied up or with ripped clothing. There was always a time limit on them of about 3 or 4 minutes, so kids who didn't have gym that period could get to their next class only a few minutes late. Well, anyway, one of the kids would record the fights on his phone, back when camera phones with video recording capabilities were sort of a luxury, and put them online behind a password. Then he would sell access to the videos for a few bucks. They were all very well shot and nobody ever told on us or held any grudges. The fights were always very sportsmanlike and even at a certain point someone was appointed referee. Crazy days. At my school they sold actual Chick-fil-A sandwiches, but they'd always run out. As soon as the bell rang, I would run to the cafeteria and buy 3. Then I'd wait for them to sell out and sell them for double. Tidy little profit. Also glass bowls. Photos of groups of friends. I'd take pics at lunch and sell yesterday's photos for $5 to $8 of all the little crews and cliques. Develop the film in the darkroom during a free period in the afternoon. Print the negatives during first or second period photo class. Sell the black and white 5x7s or 8x10s during lunch and take more images. Wash, rinse, repeat. I made hundreds of dollars, if not more. I was a spendthrift. Some adults thought it was drug related, but no one who actually knew me. My school had 2,000 to 3,000 students. Some kids bought multiple pics. I took pics of couples, but the best were groups of 10 to 15 ppl. Could make $100 on one image. Edit. This was mid-80s. I wish I had this job now. Middle school in 1991. We played pencils a ton. The game where you take turns trying to break the other guy's pencil by flicking it with your pencil while they held theirs in both hands. Know what I'm talking about? Some kids would always have a bunch of new pencils and would sell them to you if yours got broken in that game. Kool-Aid gummy bears. In middle school a group of guys I know began to sell these for $1 a bag because the school snacks were trash. They ended up creating an empire and would literally sell 100 of these daily. The school eventually cracked down on their business because the kids were making a mess in the bathrooms. The dealers stopped selling before they got into trouble and this upset the Kool-Aid addicts. This then prompted many other students to come up with their own recipe and try to become the new hotshots. I kid you not when I tell you how quick everyone was to try and dispose of their competition. The school was giving out detentions to everyone selling the product and to those buying it. After the school stated that they would suspend anyone seen with the Kool-Aid gummy bears, it died. I feel like my school was the birthplace of many future drug dealers and addicts. Pixie sticks were banned because kids were snorting them in middle school. We had passes to go across the street for lunch and they would buy them from the mini mart. Once they were banned, people would sell them out of their locker like it was actual cocaine.